Welcome to Female Owned, the podcast for small business without the hustle, without the hacks, without the overwhelm. My name is Astrid Brakke and I'm a small business mentor working with small business owners, freelancers and creatives just like you to create slower, gentler and more profitable businesses. Before I dive into this episode, if you're listening to this episode when it first drops, I'd love to invite you to submit your marketing questions to a free office hour I'm recording next week. You'll find the links in the show notes. Even though, as I shared in the past 2 episodes, marketing my business feels good now and I even enjoy it, I don't necessarily want to spend a lot of time doing it. That was certainly one of the problems early on in my business. I was spending so much time figuring out how to market my business, being on all the channels, creating all the content, that marketing suddenly felt like my job, not mentoring people. And that's why when I support other small business owners with their marketing ecosystem, I especially pay attention to the number of channels they want to market on. Now, there is, of course, no right number of channels to use, although the marketing gurus will definitely tell you that the more channels you use, the better. And that's also what we see around us. The big companies around us are on all the channels. The supermarket I buy my groceries from, which is part of a national chain, is on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, X, Pinterest, and YouTube. But they spent 100 million euros on marketing a year, and they have a huge marketing team. I, and you too, I assume, on the other hand, do not have 100 million euro to spend on marketing. I don't have a marketing team, and I neither have the time, energy, or desire to spend a lot of time marketing. Instead, I want my marketing to be minimal, and it is. So I explained a little bit about what my marketing currently looks like in the previous episode, and I shared that I market on 3 channels. I have my newsletter, which I send out through Substack, my website, which includes my blog, and then Pinterest. I send out a free newsletter twice a month and a monthly newsletter for paid subscribers as well. And because I run my newsletter through Substack, I benefit from what they call the network effect, where readers can find me on the platform itself or through recommendations from other Substack newsletters. And just by the way, if you're curious about moving your small business newsletter to Substack, I have a blog post on the topic and also a course on Substack for small business owners that I'll link to in the show notes. So 2 old newsletters are uploaded to my blog each month by Laura of The Smallest Light. She also creates about 4 pins for each post and schedules these. And I used to do the uploading and pinning myself, and it wouldn't cost me more than half a day, I think. But this was the perfect thing to outsource. And that's it. That's how people have been discovering my work for the past couple of years. And these 3 channels form the core of my marketing. And sometimes I add things like this podcast, and sometimes I scale down, for instance, by writing fewer newsletters. Because along with my marketing being minimal, I needed to be flexible. The content calendars I would make in the first years of my business were so overwhelming for me because they were anything but flexible. They might work for 1 week, even for 2 weeks, but then by the 3rd week, something happened in my life, my energy dipped, my mental health got worse, or anything else. And there went my plan. Which led to me losing momentum, and I got discouraged about my marketing and even my business. And the marketing that I do now is the marketing that I can do in an average month. And I feel really fortunate that I'm able to pay Laura to do some of the work for me, because if I didn't, I would probably not be pinning to Pinterest as consistently or upload old newsletters as consistently. Because sometimes I just want or need to scale down, for instance, during summer breaks and periods when I'm unwell. And another thing that I do is that I allow myself a lot of flexibility when it comes to sending out my newsletter. I used to send out a newsletter on the 1st of every month, but I now no longer have such fixed dates. I do tend to still send out newsletters primarily on Tuesdays and Thursdays because on those days I have most time to engage with any responses or comments. Now, if you take anything from this podcast episode, I'd love for it to be this. Give yourself permission to market less than you think you need to. Give yourself permission to tend to yourself and your human needs. Sometimes, especially around launches, like right now, I scale up my marketing. So things that I've done in terms of scaling up is writing extra blog posts, creating extra pins, and earlier this year, I created the marketing hurdle quiz for the launch of Grow in the spring. And I wrote a blog post about that quiz. And for both the spring enrollment and for the current one, I asked Laura to create extra pins for it as well. For most launches, I reach out to business buddies and write guest posts for them. And of course, this podcast is a way of upscaling too. Scaling up really only works for me because I know it's temporary. It's for a limited time and I prepare for it. And I can always scale back again to my core marketing. For this autumn launch of Grow, for example, I blocked out days in my calendar for prep months in advance to make sure I limited the number of client calls during this period. The system that I landed on of having a core of marketing channels that are really minimal and giving myself the flexibility to scale down when I need to and scale up when I want to is what makes my marketing sustainable. Now, if this kind of minimal marketing appeals to you, I'd love to invite you to think about how you can apply it to your own marketing. How can you make it more minimal and more flexible? And can you make a plan for scaling down when you need to and scaling up when you want to? My gentle marketing program, Grow, might also be just the thing for you if you're looking for a more human, gentle, and effective way of marketing your business. The waitlist is open now. Waitlist subscribers get 10% off, early access, and special bonuses. And you can find the link to the waitlist in the show notes. In the show notes, you can also find a link to the free marketing office hours I'm recording soon and a link to my marketing quiz so I can send you a free ebook with marketing tips tailored to your business. Speak to you soon.